Boys, here we are. Champ, another Pies Eyes podcast. It's been a hot minute, hasn't it?
We had to come back with some post-season work. We had to.
Yeah, and this is one of my most excited ones for the season. I booked it for earlier on in the year, but I've been waiting right up until the big main event with AFL Europe happening this weekend. We've got a very, very special man to the bottom of us, champs, Sam Siva. Great footy bloke, one of the best blokes running around in the Oakley Vaffa when he was here. Now mixing it up in the scene over in Europe. Pleasure to have you on, mate, and welcome to the YouTube. Now, give us, the fans who might not know you, a little bit of a summary about yourself and what is your role over in AFL Europe at the moment.
Oh, Caleb, thank you very much. Good to see you, boys. And I will let you know I am a Pies man at heart as well. So this isn't just, nepotism. Caleb, sorted me out to get my big head on screen. I go way back with the Collingwood Football Club. My father's a 20-plus year member. I remember going to all the games and Scotty Burns and Buckley and all that. And yeah, I'm a Maggie. So
Love that.
Europe, AFL Europe. Long story short, I've been to Europe a few times. This time I've been here for 2 years. And what with COVID and all that in Melbourne, I got back into football after retiring at 21. Played a few games with Kay down at the Oakley Crushers. Much better than the Chargers. Vaffa footy is where it's at. And basically got over here and reached out. Not many people know, but almost every major city in Europe does have an Aussie Rules club. Some Aussie bloke like me has fallen in love with an exotic foreign European woman and then started up a club, when they've moved over here for the woman. Typical story. This has happened in Berlin. It's happened in North Sweden. It's happened here in Warsaw. And 2 years ago, I landed in Sweden. Played a few games for Stockholm whilst I was kicking around up there. I played for Warsaw in Poland. I played for Silesia. Last year, I also coached the national women's team because we have a nations tournament, 9v9 on a soccer pitch. And last year, I was a coach. This year, I didn't have time to coach, but I can still rock up on the day and blow a whistle. So I've been an umpire for this season. Within Poland, we have a domestic league, the Polish league. I've umpired over in the Empire Cup, which is between Vienna, Hungary, all those Central European countries. And I'm going to umpire again this weekend at the big dance, the Euro Cup, on Saturday in Germany.
I'm looking forward to it. Now, I think something you missed out is I remember us at training, and you've always kind of endeavored to go across to Europe and really, spread the love of the game of AFL footy over there. What type of moment was like, I actually really want to go across and, teach footy and then help expand the game over in countries that, aren't really predominantly an AFL game, right? It's absolutely loved here. What made you want to spread the love overseas?
Oh, well, I don't want to beat the lockdown drum, but during those years, I've done my music and different things, but footy was the only thing we could do, literally. It was like the only thing allowed. So I got back into it really through AFI and the Harmony Cup and the Nations Cup, and saw you out on the pitch, okay? So I'd never really thought about it in a bigger picture. I just, played my club footy as a junior, never even went through to seniors, lost interest around 18, 19, just played for fun. But got back into it with, the Team Italy in Melbourne, playing 9-a-side, playing that really preseason tournament with AFI. And that was a lot of fun. It was a whole new group of lads. I've grown up in Oakley like you guys, bloody Greek territory. But then I met all the Italians from, Collingwood area, boys from the West. And that really, it brought a new dimension to football, totally new social group, really funny guys with surnames like mine, brown skin like mine. And it was just fun. It was really fun footy. I kind of lost interest when it got really competitive in the 16s, 17s, but that was fun football and still competitive. And Italy, I played 2 years with Italy in Melbourne, Italian Melbourne. Unfortunately, no glory, but I knew I wanted to get on this side of the world again. I've been here before. I really like it over here. And I was going to reach out after that, after, doing Harmony Cup twice and seeing the bloody, haka from New Zealand when they're there and watching bloody Samoa tear it up and Fiji having a crack. It's just a really fun day out in Melbourne. Lo and behold, it's just as fun over here. If not, no, it is as fun. But if you go and play in Europe, like you turn up, games are a minimum 1 or 2 hours away, right? Minimum. More like 4 hours sometimes. So usually the host club will put you up. We'll have a place to stay. You'll all, the barbecue's organized. We're all hanging back there, and everyone's got an interesting story, especially the locals, the Europeans that have picked it up out of nowhere. It's a really fun community. And once I started, I put my hand up and said, I'll do it. I'll do it. So.
Yeah, that's a massive part of like most things about that sense of belonging and community, that we all have a love for Collingwood, and that brings us all together as well. But in a greater picture of that is the love of the game, and that sense of well-being and actually supporting a club or being a part of a club if you're still playing footy or being down at the local footy side, and then being able to do that when you're overseas. Are you seeing a lot of people that are playing overseas? Are they, expats that are living over there, Aussies that are, just living abroad? Or is it more like, you're seeing some locals, maybe an expat's got a mate bringing them down? Like, you alluded to before, you were talking about that you coached the women's side for Poland. Like, what was the mix up there? Were there predominantly just Polish women, or was there some Aussies there?
All right. So typically a club will be started by an expat, and Norrtälje, like North, Stockholm's the capital of Sweden. Norrtälje is about an hour north. I think they've been around more than 10 years. Like Ryan Tucker set them up. Here in Warsaw, I don't even know who started this one, but usually each club has at least one Aussie running around. And just from, hours, years on the pitch, an Aussie, even if they're 40 years old and let their body go, just having one proper footy brain out there makes a big, big difference. But Silesia, south of Poland team, I played with them 2 years ago, but nowadays they play without any Aussies. Budapest have, I think, one Aussie running around. It's, no one's on contract. It's all pretty, come as you go. But it's majority, particularly at like England has a lot of Aussies. A lot have just gone over there for work or whatever. But on the continent, it's really mainly locals, which is heaps of fun. And
sorry, I just want to interject quick with a couple of questions before my mind loses track.
Please.
When was I'm coming in completely blind because I know a lot of people will be coming to this blind. Caleb's very in tune with sort of what you're doing in Europe, and I just want to come in as the blind side and ask with regards to AFL Europe, when was the genesis of it, and if it was X amount of years ago, where is it like now numbers wise versus where it was when it started?
Mate, I wish I'd done my research for you. I can tell you this. I was running around doing footy in Melbourne, and I umpired all the way through. I started umpiring at 12 years old in the MSJFL, right? Back before Southern, and because they're just desperate for anyone to umpire. So I've been umpiring forever. And my boss had a AFL Europe umpire's jersey, right? For forever. So there's been something over here for a long, long time.
How old are you now, old man? So I can do some quick maths.
I'm 28 lat. I'm 28 years old right now.
So it's been at least 16 years.
And I think so. Something kicking around. Well, maybe not from day one, but there's been AFL's always trying something, right? They're always trying to grow the game here and there. They just had the Transatlantic Cup this year, so that was the big flagship tournament. The best teams from Europe went over. The best teams from Latin America, Canada, and the USA all played over in North America just a few months ago. They're always doing something. The exact timeline over here, I can't tell you. I can say a lot of clubs got knocked around with COVID, as you can imagine. Like there was a league. There were clubs in Italy back before COVID, and they just haven't started up again. There was 4 clubs in Stockholm. Like there was a whole Stockholm league in Sweden. That's all. They've gone down to just one club now, but they're reigning champions, so they're happy. It ebbs and flows over here.
Yeah, okay. And when these people in the foreign countries in Europe, what is their first point of exposure to AFL Europe? How do people come across these leagues, these competitions, these teams?
It's usually some wacky Aussie they've met like at work or in the pub that just won't stop talking about this funny sport we play. Usually that person's a founding, club founder or a coach, and it grows by word of mouth, by Facebook advertising. Like here in Poland, I can tell you a lot of Poles have heard about it on Facebook, and Phil, our head honcho here, Phil has done a few great promotional videos, right? And if you're a somewhat strong lad and you think that European football is a bit, soft, and you're not a total meathead, because they've got rugby in different parts of Europe, but not really in Poland, not really in Hungary. So yeah, if you're not a total, egghead, and you're too strong for football, we're kind of a perfect alternative. And a lot of people try it and are hooked. No one really. Few people seek it out. Did you boys have Foxtel growing up?
Yeah.
So you would have seen like Eurosport, that weird European sport channel.
Yeah, jogging my memory.
I used to watch handball on it.
Exactly, right. So like it would show Eurosport would show Aussie rules over here. So you do get like the odd bloke that has watched it for years, and like he can speak like 5 words of English, but he would come up to training and be like, I love this, I can't believe it's here. So you get guys that have just met the coach and said come down. You get guys that are trying all different sports, and they've seen it on Facebook, and then you get the Eurosport diehards. So it's a funny mix, and it's the best when locals are playing it, right? Like on Saturday, it's going to be the Euro Cup, and I went last year as a coach. It's just the best thing when everyone's running around playing footy, but you're hearing German language from that pitch. You're hearing the Swedes talk over there. Hungarians, this weird bloody Polish sounds, ridiculous until you know what they're saying. So it's footy, but you can't understand a word. It's a very funny day.
Yeah, it looks like a big day. Look, when you talk about training and getting games together, and look, those long commutes, is it hard for scheduling of training and getting people there and getting fields to actually train on? Because people probably thinking there's going to be like there's no footy ovals, and that'd be correct, right? You normally probably use like a rugby oval that's converted, is what I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, so I'll tell you what, they're committed to training over here. Like the Polish league, we only had 4 official rounds this year, so we'll play like once a month through the summer. But they're training winter is too damn cold. Like it still snows in the city out here. They'll be training from March through to October now for Euro Cup. There's a friendly match in November, so they train almost year round, 2 times a week. They love it, and matches are more difficult to get a pitch, but each club has an agreement. Wrocław have a rugby pitch with the university. Silesia have an agreement with the local football club. Same in Warsaw. So yeah, pitches are it's never the easy part, but once we've got them, they train like, I don't know what the Crushers did this year, but we were like 8 months, 2 times a week. And some of them want more, so the passion is unreal. We do. My only thing, a little aside here, when you get a guy that can kick, because we play either on rugby pitches or European football pitches, and they can like kick almost the whole thing, in one. So that's a bit of a shame. I wish we could get some longer fields out here. But 9 aside on a footy pitch, hard fought footy, it's good fun.
Yeah, you'd probably not make the distance if I remember correctly from your footy days with the club. You're a bit of a 35-meter specialist, you were, but good data.
By the time you played with me, but once I hit 20, it was all over. I let myself go. in the junior days. Yeah,
you weren't too bad. Look, I was thinking like, we're just trying to grow. Like, do you get actually much contact from the AFL over here? Do they send any balls across? Do you have much communication, or is it really done through AFL Europe? Like, I would like to see how that back end stuff kind of works, and if you can shed some light regarding that.
There are people smarter than me working on it. I can tell you that. I'm Mr. Show up on the day with a camera or in front of a camera and a whistle and shout at everyone. That's my specialty. But Phil Forbes, head of AFL Polska, he's on the, I think it's Growth and Development Board at AFL Europe. So AFL Europe run everything official over here, the big events. They provide access to kits and to balls. They have a presence and an office over in London. Every serious nation has a contact with them, and they have a board. What's the word? Community growth, blah, 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 something. And long story short, I'll throw in an idea for the future. I want to be a part of bringing footy back to Italy, right? Because they did have it before. No one's really picked it up again. And that's my 3, 4, 5 year goal. And my mate Phil is kind of working on growing new clubs all over the continent. Gonna be handy. But AFL, like, I don't know what the dialogue is between back Australia and over here. I know the official AFL Europe work together, but I think it's a shame that more people back home don't know that this is going on over here. Like, when Aussies come to training, like, they'll drop in, like in Vienna when I was umpiring there, and they're like, I didn't even think about it. I just met Justin at the pub Saturday night. He said come to training. But it is, it's all over here, and so many big Australian football names from a European background. There's where do you talk about Italian names, prosciutto and everyone. It's I think there's a lot more that could,
Are there any of these current ethnic or ex-AFL players, are they involved in any capacity? Do they show themselves in the tournaments in the off-season, or is there anything like that from your perspective?
Oh, ex-players coming over is, I think Big Cox has kind of set the precedent, right? I think the fact that he's using his stature and his fame over in the US, was it him? Did he get to transatlantic? I think he dropped in for training last preseason.
Okay.
If I'm not, I think Coxie showed up at a few American sessions last year, right? And I know, like, boys come over here in the off season. Have I seen any big names around? I'm probably the biggest name running around on the pitch nowadays, right? In AFL Europe, but They had a couple guys for the grand final, right? Basically, every big city had a grand final event. And Warsaw, for us, we're up at the game starts at 6:30 a.m., right? So, like, they're calling around, finding a pub that'll open at 6 a.m. for 20, 30 rowdy blokes to come in, drink beer, and watch the game, which was, of course, a great day out. But London, where the AFL Europe office is, they had a few ex-players. I can't tell you who, but it was a Brisbane Premiership player, I'm pretty sure. I think it was Ed Langdon. Which Langdon's playing for Melbourne now? Is it Will or...
Ed.
Will. So it wasn't him. No, it was Vickers Willis. It was another bloke I played with. But they had an ex-Kangaroo come through and speak at the London event. So it all fans out from the West. London has like a proper 18-a-side league, right, within London, because they've got ovals over there for cricket, and they've got so many Aussies. That's a proper semi-pro league, you could say. They had some ex-players come through and speak. We are clutching at straws. I've got, you know what? Because he didn't come, I'm going to let this out. You're the first to hear about this publicly. What's his Prime Train was meant to come. Prime Train was coming to Warsaw, but he pulled out. And there you go.
Really?
That's my little. Not
saw
even
him on the weekend, Prime Train, but that's good because he actually shed some light on the US AFL scene. Yes, and the whole reason why I wanted to make this podcast, Champion, I kind of push for it, is because you see a big community. You talked about it before, Sam, like regarding the NFC Cup, the Nations Footy Cup, and then you also pull together the AFI that also runs at AFL International, and that's a good community where you don't have traditional strong like Fiji, for example, predominantly like a rugby country, or like Italy, predominantly soccer, but you still get a lot of AFL players playing, promoting the game. And you see all these communities coming together and playing it. And, we did a post on the Fiji side, and they asked me a question like, what does it mean to you for being captain this year? And the whole thing I said was just the fact that I can be a captain from a Fijian background and show other kids that, hey, there's more things that we can achieve but playing rugby, a sport that you're traditionally known as. And I think, going around 18 people, 22 on a side, and the fact that none of us have played before, we normally all play in different leagues, but you also have a similar run and gun. Like for Fiji, we have a run and gun style, and then you have great laughs. We've made lifelong friends now. And, we've only been doing that for 4 years together, right? And then you've got like Prime Train bringing light to when he went across and played for New York and shed light into the USC. And I saw a plethora of comments of people saying, hey, I didn't know this existed. It's really cool that our game's expanding, and it kind of wraps up that back into this conversation here of like, hey, people might not know that we've got a massive event this weekend with the Euro Cup going around, and didn't maybe not even knew that AFL Europe was a thing, but it's outside of England at a minimum, right? So hopefully, like today, with having these conversations, we can kind of shed light on something, especially footy fans being in the off season at the moment. We got to get our footy fixed somehow, right?
Oh, you do, and I'll tell you what. Pitch one, because we're playing on a big open park in Germany, and we've got 5 pitches for the day. European-sized pitches, 9 versus 9, but definitely pitch 1, maybe even pitch 2, live streamed on Saturday, and we're playing daytime, so that'll be like Saturday night viewing for the Aussies back home. You can, I think it's time to get the national pride involved, and to just get a couple tinnies ready, because particularly everyone that was either indifferent about Brisbane getting up. I don't mind the old Roy Bears, but this is your chance to shout at the telly and scream about football one more time. It's gonna be a big fun day. With our matches go, I forget if it's because it's a big round. You remember round robins from like junior footy, right?
Yeah.
So as an umpire, I'm going to umpire at least 8 round robin matches. They typically go 30, 40 minutes with a break. Boom, 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 boom. After a group stage, 4 groups for the women. 4 groups for the men. I think 3 groups for the women. Then there's a playoff, and then there's a grand final for each. And then, of course, is the after party, the most important part of the day. But yeah, I can tell you over at AFL Europe, it will be live streamed, at least 1 pitch, and it's gonna be an interesting draw, because the Transatlantic Cup, which went down just a month or 2 ago, Ireland went over, England went over, traditionally strong countries, France, but England haven't fielded a men's side. I think they were ravaged by injuries over there, or just the legs haven't got 2 major tournaments back to back in them. Anyway, England, who are traditionally in the mix, are out of it. Ireland have just, they dominated over there, but that I don't know if they're going to be able to back it up again. This one could be up for grabs. Denmark, don't ask me how, don't ask me why, but Denmark, I think, have won it twice, like just out of nowhere. Tiny little Denmark. I think it's the Viking blood. They've won it before COVID, and they sat out a year or 2. Like, there's interesting lore, like folklore around AFL Europe. Teams come out of nowhere. Croatia, historically strong, massive Slavic boys that just push you around. And Poland are stronger this year as well. It's going to be an interesting draw. It's pretty much footy rules. What do we do different? Yeah. I think...
all 9-a-side. Is it Siva for you guys at the moment?
Sorry?
Is it 9-a-side at the moment for you guys?
9v9 on a European pitch. Yeah, 9v9. Currently, no caps on interchange. You have to start, again, like starting in the 50, you have to start 3 defenders, 3 mids, 3 backs. Yep. I think we don't pay. I'm going to have the meeting later today. I haven't paid, like, if you kick it out from the kick out, if it doesn't get touched and it rolls over the boundary, it's not been a free kick. just because the pitch is so small, like it kind of happens too much here.
Yeah.
Apart from that, it's footy rules. It's full contact. It's a 15-meter penalty, not a 50, because that'd be the whole bloody pitch over here. But like this, because it's so congested, you rarely get a full like 40, 50-meter punt away. It is a small pitch, but there's a lot of pressure because of that. It's almost like highlight reel footy. We've played AFI at home, but like there's always someone. There's still like proper full forwards that just sit there trying to take screamers. A lot less running, but a lot of pressure and a lot of like big marks. It's fun footy.
So if I'm completely new, we kind of glossed over the formatting of the teams, but how many group stages games are there? And then also the finals, I'm assuming works. What, top of the table goes to top two?
Would be some serious rivalries, I'd imagine. That would be.
Of course, mate. Like it's women's group, two groups.
Germany versus Poland. I don't know, man.
All right. So,
could get a bit dicey.
Group stages and fixtures for the Euro Cup. In the men's this year, we have 4 men's groups, and the women have only 2 groups this year. But there are some strong historic rivalries. Again, England-Ireland was always a big, big match, but England won't be there for the men's this year. Who have we got? I can't say. I was a Polish coach last year. This year I'm an umpire, so I'm totally indifferent, right? Yeah. But in our group, unless they can get their bribes to me before we cross the border, I'm saying if they give me Polish zloty, right, and it hits me before we get into Germany, then it's all above board. It's just cash between friends. But in the Polish group, we have Sweden and Wales, men's group D, Poland, Sweden, Wales, which will be, to be fair, I don't want to umpire that because I've played in Sweden for Stockholm and I've played in Poland for almost every Polish club. So my heart's torn. I don't want to favor one side or the other in that one. Wales, again, kind of, don't ask me how, but Wales were strong last year. They've got the skills. I think they went through they qualified out of group stage last year, if I'm not mistaken. Group C, who have we got? Denmark, Germany, and Northern Ireland. I think because we have, all right, little aside here, we have Euro Cup, 9 versus 9 national sides. We also have domestic leagues, and in proper European tradition, we have Champions League, of course. So the best club from every prior season, the best club goes for a round robin, typically at the start of the season. That'll be in May before domestic league starts. And I think a year or two back, Belfast Redbacks won the Champions League. So I think somehow the Northern Irish Capital Club ran over, the London boys, ran over Paris, who are historically strong. I haven't seen the national side, Northern Ireland. I've been around a bit. I've done a Euro Cup. I've done Champions. I haven't seen Northern Ireland play, but there is talent in the domestic league. So Group C.
Might have to throw a Molotov on entry or something in Northern Ireland before you get on the field. But that's a good idea.
There's some really lovely blokes. Northern Ireland, I think, have, oh God, what's his name? They have a bloke that gets around. Like, he's working on the continent. I forget his job, but he'll just pop in for training and, invite you over. If you're ever in town, there's stereotypes, about this. Any nation will tell you every other nation is full of rat bags and, madmen. But in footy, almost everyone you meet is an absolute good, proper bloke. And if there's any kind of, it's competitive. It's very fun, but the what's the word? Once the game is done, once the game is finished and the siren's gone, it's a pretty fast walk over to the barbecue stand where there's a few cold frothies waiting. It's a really friendly community over here, regardless of where you're from. I umpired in Vienna because Vienna put on a friendly cup in May, and they had the German national team, the German Eagles played, Vienna played, Israel played, and someone else played. We had a little round robin. And as soon as that was done, it was, two of the boys run and manage 2 of the pubs in town, and one of the players runs a local brewery in Vienna. So we had local beers shipped in under the bloody tent. We've been running around in 30-degree heat because it's all summer over here. Cold frothies, brewed by the full forward that sits down there with his beer gut, but the beer's good because he's made it himself. It's so social over here, right? Regardless of historical animosity, it's fun. It's really fun during the match, particularly when it's close. But the Germans said, "Hey, if ever Florian, the captain, invited me to training up in Hamburg whenever I'm in town." It's like that. It's if you're ever passing through, drop in. You've got a couch. You've got training Tuesday, Thursdays. We've got home matches in 2 months' time if you can come through. It's a really fun and supportive group.
I love that because it's all about community and bringing it together. One thing you did say before that really perked my interest was the Champions League best club of each league comes together and plays a game, right?
Yeah,
that sparks an idea in my head. I don't know if it's been done in the past back over here, but champs, what about Victoria? Each Premier Division, whoever the premiers are for that year, they go do a round robin. So, whoever won the BAFA, they go play. I think Chelt won the Division 1 SFNL. They all go play in a round robin, but it's for the club. It's not like an interleague where they do at the moment where you have VAFA versus the Waffle and then the bloody SFNL versus
the
district.
Boys,
it's your club. And I reckon, like maybe a couple of weeks after the season, so the boys are still fit and kind of keen, I reckon that's something we can leverage and come over here and get some good eyes on local footy. What do you reckon?
I'd watch it.
It'd be a great idea. Like you said, there's the interleague and all that sort of stuff, but from a club format, that would be something that I haven't seen before, and you could definitely bring some eyes to that for sure. Champs, before I forget, with the AFL Europe scene, AFL Nation scene in Melbourne, because like you said, you captained Fiji in the most recent tournament. I assume you'd be a part of it again this year.
Yep.
Tell us about that, because that's what sort of translates from what Sam and Siv is doing in Poland and what you guys are trying to achieve in Melbourne as well.
Yeah. So pretty much, if you're any heritage from one of the countries that are playing, and even if not, they've got like a United Nations team, so anyone is welcome. There's an Australia team as well for your skips out there as well. There's 3 divisions in the NFC Cup now, and it's broken into divisions. So Division 1, 2, 3. Fiji played in the Division 2. Prime train for the likes and a lot of ex-AFL players. They all drop in and play. For Fiji, we had Artu Bosvalangi who played at Collingwood and played at North as well. And we have a lot of good guys coming around that play in the Premier Division. So it's actually a really good standard. You play your group stages. Then whoever finishes at the top of your 3 group stages, I think they've dropped it to 15-minute halves because you will be playing 3 games on the day plus a final. And then whoever finishes top 2 at the end of the 3 group stages, they go through the final, and then you face off and you play in the granny. So Fiji, for example, won all 3 of our group stages, versus Greece and some other countries that I can't think of at the moment, and ended up getting the win, went undefeated for that tournament. And then also they started to do, like, in Division 1, they started doing some allies, which is like every state but Victoria, and stuff like that. So it's a really good, fun day out. A lot of drinks afterwards, but barbecue, food trucks. There's a petting zoo there. There's just a lot of community, champs. You've come to a couple as well. It's a good day out, and then it's funny because your top end talent's normally pretty good, and then you have some guys that are coming around the bottom end, like for us, who maybe not have played footy before, but have played rugby, and then like some of them now play footy, and they've made that switch. Right. And that's what we're trying to promote here, where, someone who might have been playing rugby in the past, I just keep falling back on rugby because it's relevant to me, but, it could be playing bloody lacrosse for all I care. They come give footy a shot, really enjoy it, and then they go join a local league or a local team. And I think that's the whole kind of premise of the conversation we're having today is bringing eyes to AFL Europe and what it's like there. And then, if you want to get involved in Australia, in Melbourne, for example, there's leagues like that as well. There's also, the Pacific, AFL Pacific as well, and they're doing games as well, and they come across I think they're doing a tournament in Gold Coast this year as well. So the whole lot of stuff is happening, but not a lot of people know about it. So that's the whole kind of point where he's trying to get some eyes on it, champs.
Yeah, you need storytellers, right? Like there is footy around, and it's the same game, but it's a different energy. At when I played Nations and AFI, played for Italy back in Melbourne, you play with different blokes for different reasons, and you're traveling 40, 50 minutes for training, because we're meeting in the center of Melbourne. We've got boys from the West, but you sacrifice that time because it means something to you. And the more people that know about it, the better it's going to get. The more games will be able to get streaming, the more, we just need people to talk about it and get eyeballs. So something like this is exactly what we got to do. I'm going to start, I've just started, I'm going to do street talk on Saturday, right? I'm going to have a vintage Collingwood jersey because Dad's bringing it over for me from Melbourne.
All right, Sammy Newman, settle down.
Yeah, exactly. Sam Newman. I loved street talk back in the day, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to be roaming around on the microphone when I'm not on the pitch, just to get some really funny stories out of the people, because stories are what grow it. It's very rare. Like people don't find this sport like on Google, or if you haven't. Growing up in Melbourne amongst clubs, it's just what you do. But in places where it's not what you do, you need a reason. And storytellers, whether it's a mate saying, "Hey, come try this out," we need to get the good stories out there. So this is just one bloke blabbering on about what he's done in Europe. But I'm going to be roaming with all my wit and charm. I'm going to be interviewing with my limited Polish language. I'm going to get the best out of the Poles. I know a bit of Swedish. I'm going to go and speak to them. And the more conversations we can have, the more people will go, that looks like fun. They're interesting people. And I'm not a total rugby egghead. Sorry, Caleb. I know that you're from a big rugby background, but because that's everyone's point of reference over here. It's like rugby. I'm like, it's not like rugby. It's so much more complicated. And
But that's the thing, right? Like you get eyes over in Europe, it starts to expand the game, and then you get eyes, in the US as well, and it can't be a detriment to the game that we all love and watch, right? We're spreading what we love, and the standard over there is going to get better. Standard over in the US is going to get better. And hey, it might not happen in the first 5-10 years, but later down the line, you'd hope you can actually produce some real good talent coming across over into Australian rules footy. Like you can see it in the Irish and the Gaelic, right? Like a bunch of guys have Gaelic backgrounds and they come across and do a good job in the AFL, and even on the local scene as well. Those crazy Irish bastards, aren't they?
Yeah, mate, they are. And I think there's some kind of academy or pathway proper over there. I think one of the Swedish blokes had a run around at maybe state or reserve, back in the day. I've got to ask Buster, who's like a big he's a literal lumberjack and like 6 foot something. He's huge. I'm going to ask him about that on Saturday on camera. But here we are talking all professional and being unbiased. I'm going to be a referee on Saturday, but until then, who is your pick? I mean, where do your European allegiances lie, boys? This is your chance to talk trash and to big up your nation of choice. Is it because you follow a particular footy club over here? I mean, like Serie A, or let's get partial. Let's get biased and.
That's actually one of the questions I had for you. I was going to throw back at you and go, "Hey, who's going to be your prediction for the winner on this weekend?" And maybe we'll answer after you.
Oh, well, it's hard to top Ireland. They're so bloody because they've got that Gaelic background and they've been playing mixed rules for a long time. They've just won the transatlantic, and I think they've got the depth, right? I don't think they're going to be laid up on injuries. I think Ireland take the men's, but the women's is a lot more interesting, right? Women's footy is. I umpired VWFL for 3 or 4 years before the AFL took it over. and just saw like the level can grow so fast as women from different sports come in and try this and pick it up. The naturally coordinated ones. Then you get those that just run all bloody day because they've come from a cross-country background. English women are pretty strong. They have a great captain in Cherry. She's really got a football head on her shoulders. But then again, like it's because it's a small pitch, like a couple of kicks can change a game. England, like Polish, I coached Poland last year and we were like 2 goals because we kicked like 1-6 against England. If we kicked 4 goals too, we would have won that match. I'm not dirty. I'm not. Still thinking about it.
Maybe some better goal kicking at training would have done you some good.
It's all too late. I got the sack, mate. I got the sack. What can you say?
Yeah, I reckon because we got you on, I'll back the boys in Poland and the girls in Poland as well.
Polish Devils? Yeah, they've got the Polish Devils are the men and the Polish Angels are the girls.
Siva, my qualifying question to determine who I will be predicting to take the league is which team has the greatest basketball background.
The greatest basketball background? Oh, I'm thinking Serbia because of that work over in the NBA, but they don't have a footy team.
We'll go Serbia because they have a strong basketball background, and I'm going to draw that.
I don't think they've got a squad this year. I don't think Serbia have played. Wait, let me think. Who's actually got a basketball background? Germany have a league. Germany have a pro basketball league, but they're not known for their
Germany.
Jerry can't go past. A host nation as well. Siva,
you know what? Yeah, they don't have to travel. I'm in a bloody minivan with my dad and 8 other smelly blokes for 10 hours on Friday. And then I've got to get to the umpires training, get to the umpires dinner, and show up for 8 matches on Saturday. Like I'm gonna be cooked before I start moving.
So
home ground advantage is a big thing in Europe.
Yeah. Well, before we wrap it up, like how much is that expenditure coming from out of your pocket or all the people that are competing on the weekend? Like, how do they get to Germany? Obviously train, flights, whatever. But is that all coming out of their own back pocket getting across?
Umpires are covered. I know that for sure because we're giving up our day, and I've got some. Almost everyone doing this is a bit experienced. We're giving up our time. I know I'm covered for reasonable travel and accommodation. Good on them. I don't know exactly what it is with teams. I think there's some kind of allowance. We've definitely got accommodation. All the teams get put up. There is a massive hostel. It's like a city-run hostel, one of these big old European buildings, like hundreds of beds. And all the teams have the option to stay in this one hostel together.
Geez. This
I can tell you what.
I don't know if by the end of this conversation we'll still be talking about footy. But okay, they get put up in hotels.
Can you imagine a couple hundred Aussie rules players in one hostel, the guys and the girls?
By the way, you said you found your partner in Poland, whether that's true or not. Did you find her in the women's team? If not,
mate,
you did.
I'm an absolute professional when it comes to football. Have I had a romantic engagement with a football player, woman or man?
You don't have to answer that. I'm going to be a lawyer here. You don't have to answer that in front of the people that are watching.
I'm an open book, boys. I'm an open book. No, I didn't come here for love. Not this time. I've done it before, but not this time. I came here a free man. I'm still a free man. But there's a lot of really, great people running around. Now, it's... You got to keep it all above board in sport, but there's some really funny characters. There's really, really funny characters. And again, talking about what happens after a match or two, there's really good. There's all different options when it comes to rehydration over here, and the German beers are different to the Polish beer.
Rehydrating by beers and spending your recovery is the 2-step on the dance floor. I did that a few times this season. The 2-step on the dance floor cannot go wrong. But Siva, it's been a pleasure. Now let's try summarize it. Where do you want to wrap it up for us? Where do you want to see AFL Europe in 5 years? Something for people to look forward to and where they can find the game this weekend.
Right. AFL Europe. It's a big thing. It's a real thing. It's all over the continent, right? And it's spreading. It's growing. Hungary just had their second club come through. So Budapest, who have been around for a few years, finally have some local competition. It continues to grow. This Saturday Europe, Saturday Australia, we have the Euro Cup, massive round robin, 9 versus 9 national sides. It's going to be a big one. I'm umpiring. We're all going there. It's going to be live streamed on AFL Europe's YouTube page, right? Tune into that. I think we kick off around 11 a.m. It's going to be Saturday night for Australia. Have your frothy, and if you just want to shout at your TV, you didn't get it all out last Saturday, this is your chance to have another crack. I am a referee this year. I'm going to put in a vote for the Polish men to win a match. They didn't get up last year. I reckon they've improved enough to win. I'm going to go a dark horse with the Swedish women, not because I'm friends with them and I played up there, but they are a strong, strong group. A few of those girls have played over in Australia. You know, they took the year abroad, did their surfing extravaganza and picked up Aussie rules. There's some really strong players in the Swedish Ravens team. So I'm going to go Polish guys for a win, Irish men for the championship, for the cup, and Swedish women to sneak in a real run at the ladies title. It's going to be a big day out. It's going to be an even bigger night. In 3, 4, 5 years, I want to see my nation of heritage, Italy, competing again. That's what I'm saving the body for, you know. Every club has asked me to come and play for them. I've said, no. I'm such a gun. If I'm playing, I just get tagged. I get targeted. Everyone's trying to take me out. I'm not taking the hits, not for Poland, not for Warsaw. I'm saving myself, right? I'm going to head down to Italy because there used to be a club in the north. There used to be a Northwest Milan, Genoa combined. And I think there was a club in Rome. So I want to get them started again in some years. I know a few blokes down there. I'll get talking. I would love to help Italy get a national team again, get a club going, and play with them on a national level. That'd be something real special. Spain don't have a team right now. If we can see just some of these big sporting nations represented with our sport, and to see all these, you know, Aussies of European background, of foreign background, like we all have, just to be aware of the game being played back in the homeland, off in Pacifica for you, back home, back here on the continent for me. It's kicking around. The stories are great, and it's really fun to play, and it's fun to watch as well. I want to see it growing, and I want to be a part of it.
Well, hopefully we'll leave Italy in your hands. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, Sivo. And look, guys, if you're not doing anything, Saturday night, definitely tune in on the YouTube. You can definitely watch a back post as well. I did watch a couple highlights today at work, but yeah, bring some eyes there, champs. I know what we're doing Saturday night. Hope you guys have all enjoyed it. Champ, you want to say anything before we wrap it up?
Siva, pleasure, mate. I hope you can get a stranglehold over Italy, but if I head over to Greece and I might bring over the man to my left, we might create something a little bit more special than what you can pour out in Italy, mate.
Oh, like how good would it be a Greek versus Italian match in Europe? We got to find maybe we're playing Croatia, somewhere neutral.
Yeah,
we'll meet you
that's hard, champ. I don't know which women I like better. I don't know, champ.
Don't be silly.
Oh man.
I think Croatia have a full pitch. Croatia have played 18 aside, so if we can get the numbers together, Greece versus Italy to finally settle it. That'd be special. I'd come out of retirement for that.
We'll look after you, mate. Don't worry.
All right, it's been a pleasure.
Boys, thanks for the chat. That was lots of fun.